could feel a faint vibration in the floor. In a panic, I grabbed my phone, intending to call a friend, but there was no signal. That's when I remembered the old stories about this building, about its previous inhabitants who mysteriously disappeared. These stories, which I used to dismiss as urban legends, now felt terrifyingly real. I remembered the tales in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that I often read as a child, where stories from folklore and urban legends served as sources of fear. I started to panic, looking for a way out. I ran to my apartment door, but the handle felt ice cold. As I tried to open it, the scraping sound stopped, replaced by a faint, dry, and malicious laugh coming from behind the door. It wasn't a human laugh. It was cold, dry, and full of malice. I turned back, retreating into my room, hoping to find shelter there. But as I looked back at the wall, I saw a small crack appearing on its surface. From that crack, slowly, a thin, pale hand began to emerge. Its fingers were long and crooked, its nails black and sharp. The hand continued to creep out, followed by the same pale arm. I screamed and ran to the corner of the room, hugging myself. The hand reached out towards me, and I could see glowing eyes in the darkness behind the wall crack. Suddenly, my apartment door swung open on its own. Standing in the doorway was an old woman in tattered clothes and a face etched with deep wrinkles. She smiled at me, a disturbingly unnatural smile. "Don't be afraid, child," she croaked. "She just wants to play." I saw a pair of headlights illuminating brightly behind me. At first, I thought it was just another car heading home late. However, the car behind me kept tailgating, very close to my bumper. Its headlights were incredibly bright, blinding my rearview mirror. I tried to speed up, hoping it would fall back, but the car just kept following at the same distance. I started to feel anxious. This road was extremely deserted, and I hadn't seen another car for over an hour. I remembered the high beams story from the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series, about a truck driver who stalks another car with blinding high beams, and how that was just the beginning of the real terror. I tried to signal to pull over to the shoulder, signaling for it to pass me. But the car behind me also signaled, as if mirroring my movements. This made me even more panicked. I decided to keep driving, hoping for a safe place ahead. The further I drove, the brighter the headlights of the car behind me became. It felt like they were shining directly into my eyes. I started seeing flashes in my peripheral vision, as if something was moving just outside the glare of the lights. I tried to see what kind of car it was, but the incredibly bright lights made it impossible to see any details. Suddenly, the car behind me sped up. I could feel the vibration as it got closer. I closed my eyes for a moment, bracing for a collision. But the opposite happened. The car didn't hit me. Instead, it pulled up alongside me, matching my speed. Through my slightly open side window, I could see the driver. It was a man, but his face wasn't clearly visible due to the glare of the lights. All I saw was a wide, terrifying smile and his eyes. His eyes glowed like the car's headlights themselves. He stared at me intensely, as if he found something fascinating within me. I screamed and swerved, trying to get away from him. My car skidded slightly on the wet road. When I managed to regain control, the car beside me had vanished. I felt a wave of relief, but the fear still gripped me. I didn't know what had just happened. I kept driving, trying to reach the city as quickly as possible. After a few minutes that felt like an eternity, I finally saw the city lights in the distance. I almost cried with relief. I promised myself I would never take this shortcut again at night. As I entered the brighter outskirts of town, I saw a large truck stopped on the side of the road. The truck driver waved at me. I hesitated, but curiosity and the lingering fear pushed me to stop. I rolled down my window a little. The truck driver was the same man I had seen in the car beside me, with the same terrifying smile. "You look scared," he said, his voice deep and heavy. "Did something bother you on the road earlier?" I could only shake my head, too afraid to speak. "Sometimes," he continued, his eyes narrowing, "people don't realize they're being followed. They think they're safe when they see another car. But that's not always true." He let out a dry, cold laugh. The man in the truck wasn't the same stalker from the car. The car that followed me, with its high beam seeking shelter or perhaps looking for something they had lost. I remembered the stories that inspired films like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which drew inspiration. The old woman who came into my office turned out to be one of the deceased I was preparing that night. I hadn't realized that while I was